What will happen in Westworld Season 2, Episode 9? What can we learn from the preview trailer? Hi everyone, this is Robert. Welcome to Deep Geek. This video is brought to you with the support of my amazing patrons. Thank you to all of them. If you're interested in supporting Deep Geek or getting access to some exclusive content, please do check out my Patreon page. There's a link in the description. And this is your spoiler warning if you're not up to speed with Westworld. The main focus of this episode promises to be William, the Man in Black's backstory, particularly his family life and the impact of his wife's death. The voiceover for the trailer seems to be him talking to her. She, or some unknown woman, but it's probably her, starts by saying, "Tell me the truth, one true thing." She seems to recognise that whatever front he puts to the world, it's not true. There is a darker side to him, something hidden. This obviously rings true. They met well before William had ever been to Westworld, back when he was a white hat. From what we saw in Season 1, he seemed to be a good guy then. They met and got engaged, but then the events of Season 1 happened, and we see his darker side. "No one else sees it, this thing in me," he replies. Again, this seems to fit what we know. The world seems to have seen him as an inspirational leader and benefactor. Remember the guest who gushed over him in the park in Season 1, thanking him profusely for setting up the foundation that saved his sister's life. That's how the world sees William. But in Season 2, Emily, his daughter, says that one person saw through that facade. Her mother, William's wife. Sure enough, the Man in Black continues, "I didn't see it at first, and then one day it was there, this stain, invisible to everyone, except you." And the idea of a stain or a sickness also surfaced in Episode 8 of Season 2. Akecheta says to Emily that she must know about his sickness and the things he's done to spread it. So we're clearly being set up to learn more about who he really is and his motivations. In the trailer, we see him apparently in the outside world at a black tie event. All seems well. There is a shot of this woman, who I am guessing is a slightly older version of his wife, and Emily as a young girl and then as a grown woman. But then we also see again this shot of what looks like his wife in the bathtub. This is important, because depending on who you listen to, William's wife either took the wrong pills and fell asleep in the bathtub, dying an accidental death, or deliberately overdosed as a response to how William treated her. Emily apparently blamed her father for what happened, hence their slightly awkward conversations in the park. So we appear to be seeing the last bit of the Man in Black's backstory. We know that he went into Westworld on a quest to feel something because he felt so dead inside after the death of his wife. It clearly impacted him hugely. This led to him killing Maeve's daughter and trying to solve the maze. And we also know that just before Season 2, he abruptly decided to stop the program to create a host-human hybrid of James Delos, not because he thought it was impossible, but because he decided now that it wasn't right. Without wishing to justify his actions, it seems clear that all we've seen him do as Man in Black on the show is a response to the loss of his wife, the only person who really knew him. And we will see that play out in Episode 9. I think we'll see why he changed his mind about the Delos research project, and what he's wanting to do now. This is speculation, but it's possible that we will also see him in the moments before the gala that turned into a massacre at the end of Season 1. He was wearing a black tie then as well, and we saw in another trailer him drinking with Ford, both of them dressed in dinner jackets. Then Ford gives him something credit card sized, perhaps a key card for a door. Could this explain how the Man in Black seems to know where he is supposed to be going, and what Ford wants him to do? Perhaps. But this isn't just going to be about William's past. We see him in the current timeline too. Here he is holding a gun to his head. There is no doubt that, as of Episode 8, he is a man who has no real desire to live anymore. But the question is whether those around him will allow him to die. What about the other storylines? We see Dolores shooting a member of the Ghost Nation. This looks like the same event we've already seen on a video in the 2 weeks later timeline. Although, if so, there are some timing issues here, because that should have already happened. But regardless, we know that Dolores and Teddy are heading to the Valley Beyond, and so are the Ghost Nation. Dolores wants to use the weapon she says is there, and they both want to escape Westworld. Although Dolores has a slightly more exclusionary approach to deciding who deserves to be there. Expect some disagreements. Bernard is also heading there, with Ford in his head, taking control every now and then. It appears that Ford is again using him for violent purposes. Curiously, we also have footage in the trailer of Teddy apparently being analysed. It's not clear which time this is from. And also Clementine, who got shot in the last episode. It's a useful reminder that just being shot lots of times doesn't kill a host, and even being dead doesn't mean we won't see someone again. I have a sneaky suspicion we may see Logan again this episode, for example. Finally, we will pick up on Maeve's storyline. We last saw her lying badly injured in the Mesa hub and at the mercy of Charlotte Hale, but she is far from powerless. Yes, Lee Sizemore may well help her, but now we've seen that Maeve can use her powers through the mesh network over long distances. Presumably she could control any hosts that happen to still be lying around in the Mesa hub, or even further afield. Perhaps this is how Clementine gets back into action. In any event, I think we'll see Maeve patched up and heading to the Valley Beyond along with everyone else in time for the season finale. This episode is called Vanishing Point, the point on a picture where two parallel lines going into the distance appear to meet. In other words, two things meeting that have been kept apart or even shouldn't meet. I think we will see this happen thematically a lot in this episode. The Man in Black's past and present will figuratively meet, his descent into darkness in the earlier timeline being matched with his more redemptive, or at least regretful, storyline in the current timeline. And Dolores and the Ghost Nation will meet. But what do you think will happen? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want access to more of my content, or just support the channel in making more videos like this, please check out my Patreon page. And subscribe here for more Westworld and Game of Thrones videos. That's all for this time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.